Tanning is the force that went beyond musical boundaries and into the psyche of young America, blurring cultural and demographic lines so permanently that it laid the foundation for a transformation. Understanding this phenomenon is what made me a successful entrepreneur in the worlds of music and advertising. In my career, I've had the honor of working with true icons. During this series, I'll introduce you to these amazing people and personalities, and we'll talk about how they and the tanning effect are changing the world. I am Steve Stoute, and welcome to the Tanning Effect. Today I sit down with the lady at the center of fashion and pop culture universe today, Miss Lady Gaga.
Hello.
How you doing? I'm so happy to have you here.
Nice to see you,
There's
Steve.
so many things that I want to ask you. I just got on Twitter recently and I put it out there. I said, I'm going to interview Gaga. I asked, what questions do people want to hear, you answer? And the questions that came back a lot were around hip hop music. And it was like, first question is, was there anything when you're not writing songs or touring, what do you listen to? What's on your iPod?
Well, I listen to a lot of heavy metal and a lot of old rock and roll and glam music. But actually recently I've been listening to the new Ye and Jay record, kind of on repeat. I love it.
You like Watch It Throne? Well,
not only do I love, obviously, the music and have always felt that Jay-Z and Kanye were ahead of their time. The video for Otis, it's just, there's something so incredible about the fact that they took this car that years ago, they would have shined the Maybach up, waxed it, shined a beautiful light off of it, and would have heralded the newness and the expensiveness and the luxury of the vehicle, and yet they walk in and they f this car up, and it's all about saying hip hop has changed and we're moving in a new direction.
Has hip hop music at all affected any of your songwriting, your style?
Of course. I mean, I think it was always the lifestyle of hip hop. The sort of celebration of decadence as the cherry on top of success. After you eat in the industry for so long, once you make it to the top, you bring all your friends with you and you celebrate. I mean, that was always my favorite thing about my favorite hip hop artist. And in fact, it influenced me so much that when I would be interviewed very early on in my career about my success, and I would be so confident about it and so forthright, people would say, oh, she's, female pop singer, she's from New York, she's 22, why is she talking like that? But I was raised listening to music and watching and idolizing these legendary people that had come from the streets or worked from the ground up. And I thought, well, if you really worked for it, which I did, you should emulate that sort of gratitude.
So you've transcended many generations and demographics with your music. You've put your little monsters are 60 and 16-year-olds. You got gay and heterosexuals coming together and black, white, and indifferent. Talk to me about, what did you do? How did you bring all of these different generations together and different people together and you just transcended lines that most artists can't?
The most basic thing that I could say is just that there's nothing exclusive about what I do. Nothing exclusive about the music, nothing exclusive about the approach, nothing exclusive about who's invited to the party. Everybody's invited to our party. And there's really no group or any lifestyle that I don't sing about. In a way, it's the inclusion, I think, of all kinds of people to come together and get to know one another. That's sort of the greatest thing about the Monster Ball.
Did you have a specific tanning moment?
I was always making music for everyone, and I was never targeting my music to the masses.
You know, you have such big musical presence, but yet at the same time, you take on a certain level of social responsibility. You talk about bullying and your stance on gay and lesbian rights, and now you're touching on immigration. How does your musical presence, does it affect your social causes? Does what's happening socially lead your music? How do you find that balance?
Well, the fans lead the music, and it just so happens that a lot of my fans have shared with me their stories. I traveled all over the world, and every night when the show was over, I would stop outside the arena and take pictures and sign autographs, and sometimes when it was really cold out, I would invite 30 fans on the bus and give them hot chocolate and give them Cheetos and ask them if they were okay, and they'd say, you know, my dad kicked me out because I'm gay. Another one would say, I haven't seen my parents in 8 months. They were brought back to El Salvador in the middle of the day. I've met fans that were beat up outside school or had to move high schools because they were teased for being fat. I mean, I could go on and on about the stories. And it wasn't until they shared their stories with me that I realized how like them I was. And I began to relive all of my struggles as a teenager. It's about society, but it's also about pledging a certain allegiance to your fan base. And it's not like, thanks for buying my record, you. It's like, thanks for buying my record, and I will live and die and breathe my work and my art to protect your dreams because you protect mine.
Did you have a specific tanning moment? A moment when you realized that your music, wow, it crossed over. This thing is pulling everybody together. Was there a moment when you looked into the crowd and you seen, you know, this place is filled with, the arena is filled with this, or you played in a certain venue and you were just shocked at how far your music has reached?
Yeah, I was always making music for everyone, and I was never targeting my music to the masses. I just made what I believed in and made music that spoke to my culture in underground New York City, which is everybody with no judgment. And like I said, it wasn't until they shared their stories with me that things began to change. And now I have a different outlook. You can't like make records and then get to know your fans and just ignore the effect that they've had on you. I always tell people that. They'll be like, you always talk about your fans. I'm like, how could I not
Who else is there to
talk about my
Yeah.
fans? They're my family. They're my whole reason now for everything. And they are the thing that I didn't even ever really think about before. I wrote records because I love music. I love music. I live and breathe and die music every single day. I music. But the fans, they show the hell up, you know? They show the hell up.
Well, I am fortunate enough to know that, you know, what you've done and the statements that you make to help people. Also, your philanthropic endeavors, your $1 million donation to different charities to help inner city kids. Everything you've done with the Robin Hood Foundation has been fantastic. So I just am just so happy that, you know, I get a chance to sit down with you and be one to just push your message out further. And you've been nothing but an icon, somebody who's been a role model, and thank you for coming by. Thank you. A little fist bump. This is The Tanning Effect. See you next time.